I saw the movie Life of the Party, and Charlie saw Show Dogs, and we're going to have to convince Steve that they're good movies. Can we do that? Can we not do that?
Rough.
Are you ready for Movie Versus? Welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast where we pin two terrible movies in an all-out battle for the best of the worst. Here are your hosts, Tyler Lamb, Charlie Pixley, and Steve Janik. All on Movie Versus!
Hey, everybody, this is Movie Versus, the podcast in defense of bad movies. My name is Tyler Lamb, and I'm here with my host, Steve Janik. Steve, how is it going?
It's going pretty good. Like I told you guys before, I just got a job because this doesn't pay for anything.
Yeah, you told me that you got a job at a new podcast that will actually pay you for your efforts.
Yes, and they love me so much more. I get to say things to completion.
Well, hold on, Joe. Let me see the pad of paper, the envelope that they gave you that has the acceptance letter. Oh, okay. Let me see this. Oh, yeah, dude. This is totally our fake letterhead that we made. He fell for it, dude. You don't have that job. Nerd.
But also I spent the entire week learning Harry Potter trivia
Oh, that's right.
for
Yeah, that
Harry Potter trivia night.
that helps your nerd case a lot, I'm
Yep.
sure.
What episode is this?
58.
Okay.
So 11 away from what could
5
potentially
million.
be the greatest episode of anything ever.
Oh, that's true.
Episode 69.
And that one we're doing. Wow, landlord Kevin really lost it at that one.
What?
We should just do Showgirls versus Showgirls in reverse.
Ooh, upside down showgirls versus regular side showgirls.
What if you mirror it and superimpose them so we're watching it and we're watching it
Yeah.
backwards?
I was kind of just thinking it based off of the covers of the movies because it's the girl on the front. So if you just flip one upside down, then it looks like they could be
Sure.
doing
Now with even more degradation.
And that was
It doesn't have to.
difficult.
It doesn't have to be women. It could be two dudes. What do we got?
Sure.
The cover of Grown Ups 2. Just flip one of that upside down, and it's like that whole cast is 69 on each other. That's actually funnier. So we'll do that.
Is it?
It's probably
It couldn't be less funnier.
it's probably the funniest that movie
Wait,
would ever
no,
be.
wait, no. Are we,
True.
I was gonna say, are we talking about funnier than the other topic or funnier than the entire film?
Yeah.
And then that other host voice that you're hearing is not me. It's not Steve Janik. It's Charlie Pixley.
That's
You
the
know it.
requisite
What's
for other.
what's up, Chuck?
Just trying to drink some of this Lorenzo's oil.
Yeah, you got a whole gallon of it.
Yeah, my doctor was like, man, your cholesterol is frighteningly low. It's like, well, you need to start drinking just all sorts of oils and fats.
Wait, he recommend? Oh, okay, oils and fats. So that explains that jar of fat that you've been intermittently pouring inside of the gallon of oil.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it had to be beluga whale fat.
I gotta be honest,
No, it
Charlie,
gets to be.
I feel like this was a poor decision. Like all of the things that you're doing, not a good call.
You're my primary care physician, though, Steve.
And I told you not to do this specifically.
Oh, whatever. He got that whale for a cheap price. So.
Yeah, that's true. It's a shame I had to throw away the rest of it.
And Steve, you looked very quizzical in
No,
that moment.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm registering. And
Like the
like,
jokes?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Are you having trouble hearing yourself?
I just can't hear myself.
Charlie, can you hit him with the?
No, I can hear you guys.
Quan, dab.
Interesting. Hold on. No, that's you.
Okay.
You want me to tap mine out?
It
No,
might just
you're
it
fine.
might just be like what I'm hearing.
Am I good?
Yeah. No, I can hear you guys fine. I just couldn't hear
Turn you up
myself.
a little bit?
No, because like I can hear you guys perfectly.
Okay.
No, yeah.
You are farther away,
you go.
though, but you do talk loud, too.
But I mean, I always
yeah, that's
You
true.
usually sit like a few yards back and use that megaphone.
yeah. Sorry
I-
about the interruption.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll leave that all in.
Okay.
Listeners love that, right? I don't know.
Wow, real peek behind the curtain.
Exactly. It's like peeking into the Wizards' little control room.
Yeah, that turned out poorly.
My little control room.
No, I'm pretty sure it turned out greatly. They all got what they wanted, right?
Yeah, and then you find out it's a dream or whatever.
No, that's not true because then there's a sequel.
Yeah.
She goes back to Oz, dude.
Yeah, and she's like 6 years younger.
Yeah, and then
Fuck you.
Zach Braff is a monkey or something. I don't know.
All right,
Right? It's Zach Braff that plays the monkey, right?
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He does in that James Franco movie, Return to Oz or
Sure.
whatever.
Oh, he does.
God.
Fuck.
That monkey.
No. No. Under no
That's what it's
circumstances.
gonna say on your
is it the
headstone.
monkey? Is it is it also the monkey from Hangover and Dr. Kin and
Yes.
All other movies with that same
Yeah,
little
but the-
howler monkey.
but this time voiced by Zach Braff. Anyway, this movie we talk
You mean this podcast?
this this is now a movie.
Oh, crap.
You didn't see the crew? It's the crew from Roseanne. They're all out of work now. So,
we picked them up for cheap.
exactly. It's real cramped
Suck
in here.
it, Disney.
And on this podcast, we try to make bad movies sound good. And on this episode, Steve is being convinced that the movie Life of the Party, starring Melissa McCarthy. I know that didn't bode well, I guess.
No.
And then the movie Show Dogs, starring William Arnett.
Or just a
Yes.
bunch of dogs.
I did have a buddy that went and saw my movie with me, and beforehand he was asking, "Oh, what's the other person's movie?" And I said, "Life of the Party," and he said, "Oh, that's that one where it's got the lady Rosie O'Donnell. She goes back to college," and I started dying laughing, and I had to correct him, but it was a genuine accident, but it was
God
harsh.
damn it.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy's not even a lesbian.
No,
What a blunder. What do you mean, sure? She's married to the guy who,
it's impossible to tell.
All right, let's just get this on the road. Steve. So, Charlie, you saw Show Dogs. I saw Life of the Party. Steve, we're convincing you. Go.
Charlie.
And when was the last time Rosie O'Donnell was even relevant? So time-wise, it doesn't even make sense.
No, that is true. I haven't heard about Rosie O'Donnell in years. Anyway, Charlie, give me a quick rundown of your movie because
What was the one girl from All That?
Lori
Lori Beth
Beth
Denberg.
Denberg, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What makes you bring her up?
Because I feel like as a kid, I always got heard, when I got older, I feel like there was a lot of rumor around the school where it was oh yeah, Rosie O'Donnell was on All That or something like that.
That's the hot rumor.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, Charlie, tell me about your
It
movie.
was written on the
because-
bathroom stalls.
because even after that trailer, I have zero clue as to what your movie is.
Yeah,
actually
you don't
about.
remember? Ludacris clearly goes, they're using the dog show as a front for animal smuggling.
I do remember that.
So
now that you've said
Will
it.
Arnett works for the FBI.
Wait, that's not really the plot, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Will
Well, I'm glad
Arnett
you laid
works
it all
for
out
the
for us.
FBI, and I'm just going to call the dog Ludacris. I
Okay.
think his name is Max. It's not Max from the Max universe.
Feel free to just call him Luda.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So
Not
Will Arnett and
Oh wait, no,
Is his
Luda,
name Chris?
no, Chris.
Chris
yeah,
Bridges.
My bad. Yeah.
Ludacris works for NYPD, and he's a police dog that works on his own. Now, let me
Wait.
clarify something. The animals talk to each other,
Is
but
that-
the humans cannot understand them.
Okay, so but
Hold
when
on.
you say he works on his own, is he on his own as a dog, or is he?
Yes.
Okay.
Is NYPD actually stand for the New York Puppy Department?
No. He works for the police department. He's got handcuffs and
New York police
bulletproof
doggies?
vest and everything.
But without a police officer with him, and without him being able to talk to humans.
Fuck your rights. They don't matter in New York.
Does he say that?
Maybe.
Be cool if he did.
And yes, he did. Every time he apprehended someone. So they're both working on a case. Will Arnett works for the special division of the FBI that handles animal smuggling cases. They talk about a sloth that was stolen and an anaconda that was stolen. That is
From their
wanted for the
owners?
death of Jennifer Lopez and LL Cool J.
The anaconda.
and John Voight
and John Voight. Yes, that's why the FBI
and
is on
Owen
the
Wilson.
case.
Well,
Yes.
well, I understand the Jennifer Lopez, but I thought the anaconda did not want none if they ain't got buns.
That's true. Okay, you don't think John Voight has a thick ass?
Touche.
So anyway,
What?
there's a stolen baby panda.
Well, I need to know. I know that
Designer
you're
is
not.
in this movie.
Okay, never mind. He's like, well, I just got broads in Atlanta. No, so where are these getting stolen from?
Animal
China.
shows. Oh. Well, the panda.
So why the? Never mind. Just continue. Explain.
Oh, the panda, or like just all the animals all around the world. It's like
So why is the
people buy 'em.
NYPD a part of it?
Because the
there's
one-
the
the-
animal show in New York that they're going to use.
No,
use
that's in
as a
Las
front.
Vegas.
Oh.
They just happened. They had a tip that it was happening, like the handoff, the initial handoff was
Okay.
happening in New
By the-
York at one of the ports.
By
And
the
then-
way, I know he's not one, but I got another one. The New Yorkie Police Department. Get it? The New
sure.
Yorkie Pup Department could even work a little bit
Okay.
better. Because then Yorkie pups, you know.
No, yeah, Charlie, go on.
sure.
I'll continue writing more down as the
So
time.
their paths cross and they kind of bumble into each other, and the panda gets taken away because it's like, no, this is my case. No, this is my case.
Classic.
Blah, blah, blah. So then the FBI goes into the NYPD, and they of course are saying the classic, like, this is our case now. You guys are
Yeah, you don't have any
you're not
jurisdiction.
qualified enough. This is a global affair. And the police captain is saying like, oh yeah, just like how you botched up that sloth case, and then everybody's like, ooh, ripping on the FBI. So then the dogs are talking in the office, and it was pretty funny that so they're going the whole time, and the dogs are talking, blah blah blah, while the humans are talking. And at one point, it cuts to the humans' perspective, and the dogs are just barking like a foot away from each other at their faces. And Will Arnett says something along the lines of, "Why is nobody stopping this? Like, we're trying to talk here, and these dogs are just barking nonstop." And they show them it's just ruh, 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 just two of them while everybody else is trying to talk, which I thought was kind of funny.
So
Why?
and you said he's part of the FBI.
Yes,
Does that stand for Fur Boys?
I thought.
Charlie, move along.
So then Max is like, "Oh, I got a good idea," and then he poses himself because they said that they think the next hit is going to be at the dog show, the like world famous dog show in Las Vegas, and they think that's where the big handoff of the panda is going to happen next. So like, oh, what undercover are we going to do? Of course, Ludacris goes undercover as a dog entering the dog contest, and Will Arnett is the handler. So they must become best friends, go there, and try and get the competition
They
going.
missed comedy gold by not making Will Arnett the dog and Ludacris the handler, and that like as in
Right.
the dog goes as the handler and the human goes as the dog.
That's true.
Because then imagine that scene when they check his balls.
Yeah.
Oh man.
At any point, does Ludacris say "move, bitch"?
No.
Oh my god. No fucking way. Are you
I'm
serious?
serious.
That shit writes itself.
Yeah. Which is weird because there is a lot of really strongly suggestive stuff in the movie that I figured they would have done that.
I feel like I should write a letter to them
A
because
strongly
that's
worded letter.
because that's almost like I feel like that would be something that Ludacris would say, and then like it would be a line, and they'd be like, "Oh man, yeah, he just ad-libbed this one. Oh, Ludacris is so fun."
he
in the
ad
booth."
libbed that
Well,
song
I mean,
that he's
I also
really
think-
famous for.
I also think like he could start off like the line from the song, but then they like just cut it like right before he actually says "bitch." You know, like "move," and then it just like cuts to like something
But
else.
you know, you
Yeah.
could easily get away because isn't bitch like can be
Sure.
used as an actual term for a female dog?
Just say it to
nowadays,
Will
like,
Arnett.
Yes.
Still be correct, I guess. No.
So is that,
I like
as
him.
far as you want to go right now, or you want to?
No, I'll give
Okay.
you a little bit more. So then they can't find the panda, but they figure out that the next animal that's going to be taken is the animal that wins, because then they sell it to
Right.
all breeders around, that they can try and breed, the next best dog or whatever. So then that is the incentive to them. They want to win the competition, so that way he can be kidnapped.
And
but
then-
they got the tracker on him
Right.
and everything like that.
Classic.
So, and then it's a street dog that is showing some of these prissy dogs, what the street life is all about, and vice versa.
Out of curiosity, before I start making like random jokes about it, have you seen Oliver and Company?
No.
Because I was gonna make a joke about him being a real Cheech Marin.
Well, I mean, I would
I'm
prefer if you
sorry.
don't make random jokes and they actually have some type of purpose. Like all of my
Tyler,
jokes.
tell me about your movie.
So, my movie, speaking of jokes with purpose, my movie, Life of the Party, is about, I don't remember the character's name, so I'm just going to go off of,
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa
Eminem.
McCarthy, Marshall Mathers, and Curtis Jackson.
Oh, I fucking lost.
Curtis
sorry.
Jackson plays her
Sorry,
daughter.
Charlie.
No, so it starts with them. Her husband, I can't remember his name, but he's in a lot of stuff. He's got he's got red hair, but it's like balding, and he's got a mustache. If you guys saw him, you'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, that guy. It's not totally balding. It's like George Costanza balding.
Okay.
Like I think he's got some on the side.
Yeah, I think I know who you mean.
Ron Howard?
No.
Is he the doctor in The Hangover?
Oh, in The Hangover? I don't know. The only doctor from a Judd Apatow movie I know is Ken. Dr. Ken Jeong.
Well, that's not who I'm talking about.
I know. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But so they're dropping her off at school, and
Right.
it's her it's her fourth. It's her senior year.
Okay.
But so they're dropping her off at
Of college.
at the
Or high
sorority.
school. Okay,
at the
gotcha.
sorority. Yeah. So they're like, hey, yeah, but still, it's Matt Walsh.
Yeah, that's him.
Matt Walsh.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're like, she's still kind of like, upset about it because obviously dropping your kid off still is
Might have
like-
been the doctor in Horrible Bosses. Sorry.
Still, that was Jennifer
No,
Aniston.
you're definitely right that he was the
Okay.
doctor.
But they're she's still like kind of oh man, I just gotta leave my daughter, blah blah blah. And as they're leaving though, she's like, I'm gonna have to leave you, but the kid's like, it's fine, mom, you're gonna have a blast in Italy. So apparently the parents are gonna go on this Italy trip or whatever for a few weeks. So on the way, literally out of the little. That's not a
Cul-de-sac.
Is that a cul-de-sac? It's the little
it's like, no, like
driveway.
a circle drive.
Yeah, little semicircle drive. On the way out of there, and Melissa McCarthy's kind of chatting away, and then Matt Walsh is just kind of like, yeah, so I want a divorce. And she's like, wait, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, the class is like, oh, so glad to get that off my chest. But she's like, well, it turns out he's in love with this other girl that he knows, blah, blah, blah. She ends up doing that thing we saw in the trailer where she throws out all the shit and burns it. And then that scene where the fire blows up and pushes her back, which I swear was in a trailer for Tammy. I couldn't find it, but when I saw that, I swear I had seen a Melissa McCarthy movie
Where
with that exact same.
You have.
Probably. Anyway,
It was in
that's not.
Ghostbusters.
That doesn't. Yeah, that's not. That doesn't show
Sure.
the whole movie. Whatever. It was just that one. I was like, oh fuck, I feel like I've seen this before.
Right.
And
Like
since
real
it's another
Michael Bay move.
Well,
Just
it's another.
taking
Well, it's another
scenes.
movie written by her and her husband and directed by
Sure.
her husband. So that's why I was like,
Okay.
was this in? Did they do the same thing? Anyway, Melissa McCarthy looks great. I think, especially she's great. She's awesome.
Sure.
She's hilarious. And so she decides, hey, I dropped out of college because she was pregnant with her daughter, and her husband. It was kind of like a decision, like, hey, yeah, but it was her senior year, so she didn't do her senior year.
Yeah.
She
Right.
dropped out to have the kid and all that stuff. So
And
she's
so-
like, hey,
And her credits lasted for
That's what
20
I was about to
years.
say.
and so she decides, and so she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna finish up the degree that I wanted, which is an archaeology degree. She's like, I'm gonna
Be the next Indiana Jones.
yeah, actually. That's why she says she loves archaeology because she saw Indiana Jones.
All right.
Yeah, that's like her huge influence.
And that's all that archaeology is.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that
All
and
train
swinging
fights,
on ropes and
plane
seeing
fights.
snakes.
Yeah, just random
Yeah.
snakes being in random
Driving off, floating off of waterfalls in a raft,
Yeah.
being
Killing
fathered by
people.
Sean Connery.
Yeah. Fighting Nazis.
Yeah, using a whip
and,
to
and
knock
every turn.
Yeah.
There are
And,
Nazis.
so she goes back to school, and the trailer made it seem like she lives with the daughter, but that's not the case. She's living on campus actually
Okay.
in a dorm because she has a roommate who never leaves, and that's a point of comedy of the movie where she's like, do you go to classes? Because it's one of those classic I'm not really full on goth, but oh, I don't like the sun.
Yeah.
And I just stay inside all the
I don't
time.
want to go out and hang out with people.
And there are scenes where Melissa McCarthy's looking something up on the computer, and it just cuts to you see Melissa McCarthy looking at the computer, and this girl's literally just like right over her shoulder, and then the girl's like, "So what do you look at?" She's like, "Oh my god, why are you so close to me? When did you get here?" And the girl's like, "Well, I like you. Like, you're my friend." And she's like, "Well, it seems like you want to kill me." And stuff like that. But she'll go to the sorority house because she also like knows the girls to an extent.
Right.
You know,
'cause,
most of
I mean,
them.
they're her daughter's friends. Like,
Yeah.
she encounters them at least a
Yeah.
little bit.
So she'll come by and like bring goods and stuff like that. And the daughter is like pretty abrasive about her even going to the school and
Yeah.
then being there. But then she quickly kind of like gets used to it to an extent because she's like, okay, I see that, you know, Dad kind of fucked you over. Like, this is what you want to do. Like, let's go to a party, have fun, all that stuff. And that's where you see that scene where they comb her hair and stuff like that. And then do you guys watch Silicon Valley?
No.
Okay, well, the daughter's boyfriend is a guy in Silicon Valley that is pretty funny, but
Which
doesn't-
one?
The Asian guy that T.J. Miller's character brings into the incubator, and his character doesn't like speak English at all, but then he's the one that gets T.J. Miller kicked out, and he takes over the incubator and like
I don't know.
becomes super cocky. He's really
Sure.
good. It's funny, and I don't remember anybody's characters' names, so.
Fair. Yeah. We're well aware of this.
But so they're, you know, she's becoming more not into it, but just accepting of it.
Sure.
One of the classmates we saw in the trailer was Jillian Jacobs,
Right.
And we were all like, oh, because she's definitely old enough to be a college student. Well, it turns out she was in a coma for 8 years.
So she's like another person that's like going to
Yeah.
school there.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's part of it. She has her like a Twitter handle like Coma Girl, and she has like a bunch of followers. And there's a scene in the party where a guy's like, "Oh, hey, you're Coma Girl, right?" Like being like, "Oh, I'm such a fan." And then she just kind of like. And he's like, "Oh my god, is she in a coma again?" And then he just walks away, and she's like, "Oh, it works every time." Then I mean, as the movie goes on, what's his name? Not Ed Helms, the other guy, not Will Forte.
Rob Riggle.
No, the guy who was Dr. Spaceman.
Chris
Parnell?
Parnell, yeah. Chris Parnell is the archaeology teacher. Turns out he went to school with Melissa McCarthy.
Oh,
but there's he's like, "Oh, you're my favorite student." They're doing all this. She hits a wall like of real conflict as far as the school goes when she has to do a oral presentation, and she's not good at speaking in front of people. So that's like a deal. She meets a guy at the first party they go to, and they hook up, and that's the guy that then she has sex in the library with. And this guy's like super into her. I think it's kind of playing off of one of those tropes of like a like college age kid with an older lady and being like, "Oh my god, you rocked my," like, you know,
Yeah.
like the whole like the Google thing, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And
Vash Jeeves.
yeah. It turns out that Matt Walsh's new wife is Julia Bowen. That's how you say her name. In Modern Family, the
Yeah, yeah.
mom
Oh,
in
yeah.
Modern Family, who has somehow gotten more attractive over the years, which is just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
And there's a lot of like stuff that I don't know if you want me to go into spoiler stuff, but
We'll
like,
get there.
okay, yeah. So it's, I mean, like the trailer suggests, it's about her going to school and not only, I mean, dealing with going to school, but dealing with this whole divorce thing. And
Right.
then there's also some like, you know, not projecting it, but kind of like almost kind of reeling her daughter into having to be in this position of like
Right.
really picking sides to a degree. There's stuff like that.
Right.
Healthy.
Yeah.
So Charlie,
Uh-huh.
how many different hoes in different area codes did this dog have?
You really should have already had an answer prepared for this.
I mean, he knows people in each area.
Okay.
So,
No,
Can you list a few area codes for us? I'm kidding.
not off the top of my head.
314.
so what was the best joke? I'm sure there was a lot of like dog puns and things like that.
Ah,
Are you gonna
shit,
ask me
I gotta
this too?
scan through the whole thing now.
Yeah. Are you gonna ask me this too, just so I can
Yeah.
like best joke? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw this a week ago at this point.
There was
I mean,
one.
There should have been like one or two that maybe stood
There
out.
was
that you,
one
like,
that's
actually remember.
that stuck out to me. There, Will Arnett has one of the guys in custody, and he's kind of doing his interrogation thing in the room in the police headquarters. And it was just a very quick thing, but the guy's like, we can do good cop, bad cop if you want. I'm being good cop now, but let me go get the bad cop. And then he's walking away, and the guy's handcuffed to the table. He gets up to the door and locks it and just comes back. And the guy's like, it usually helps to have a different cop be the bad cop. What are you going to do, just spin your head around like the Lego guy? And Will Arnett's voice just changes in the movie, and just like, what the hell do you know about that? And he does his his Lego character's voice. And it's just totally brushed off like nothing. But it was, I don't know, I thought that was a funny enough reference to
Yeah, that's really weird.
Lego
'cause
character.
The best joke in my movie was when Melissa McCarthy's voice changed to Will Arnett's Batman voice.
That would be funny.
No, so I'm guessing you're gonna move the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Okay, so it's harder for me to pinpoint a specific just like setup punchline. But I would say, and this kind of goes into the spoilers of it a little bit.
That's fine.
So Maya Rudolph, I didn't mention her, but she's Melissa McCarthy's like best friend throughout the movie, and
Right.
and she has she doesn't have as little of a part as I thought based off of the trailer.
Yeah, she looked like she'd only appear via phone calls.
Yeah,
in the
or
trailer.
like that one scene.
Yeah.
But no, she's actually intermittently like, because obviously Melissa McCarthy's not gonna just hang out with college kids.
Yeah.
Like she's still. And there's a scene where they go to a restaurant.
Jamba Juice.
Well, I mean, it's like a upscale Jamba Juice.
Okay. So Smoothie King.
Yes. No, it's like a really nice restaurant,
Okay.
and they go to this place. That sounded weird. And it's not really a double date. It's more of like, I think, two couples, but then Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, nice.
And so they're all
the old fifth wheel.
yeah. So they're all hanging.
I know that rolled well.
So they're all hanging out, and they see Matt Walsh and Julia Bowen
Right.
walk in. Like,
Whoa.
Not to be like they're there to eat with them, but they're at the
Right.
restaurant and they're like, oh shit, here's the and then another bomb is dropped that the waiter that comes up ends up being the dude that Melissa McCarthy has been seeing like in banging.
Okay.
And so she's like, oh, man. And then, of course, like, somebody gets the attention of Matt Walsh and Julia Bowen. I think it's Maya Rudolph's husband. He's like, oh, hey. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, when he's like, oh, what? I haven't seen him in a while.
That's very funny.
and so they come over and they're like, oh, hey, what's going on? And Julia Bowen's like, hey, wait, what are you doing here? Or I didn't know you worked today. And it was the waiter that, Melissa McCarthy's been with.
Son.
Her son. Yeah.
Oh,
And so that bomb drops.
sweet, sweet revenge.
Yeah, and Maya Rudolph, like, basically, Melissa McCarthy is like, oh, shit, I've been fucking your son. Like, we fucked in the library. Maya Rudolph's reaction is mainly, like, the funniest part, because she's like, that's my fucking girl. Like, and just, like, her whole, pop off to that reaction was way more animated than Melissa McCarthy's, but like in the same way, like your friend would be like, "Oh fuck yeah," like that's like a totally like behind. And
I'm not that emotionally involved in this, so I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it was a twist that I wouldn't have. I was like,
Sure.
"Oh shit!" Like no way. It surprised me, and then the
that's gross.
good reactions, and then I thought it was the first part I was like, "Huh," then I was like, whatever. He's of legal age, but
yeah, it's just still like.
yeah. Pretty sus, but
Yeah,
but-
definitely.
and then Maya Rudolph's husband in the scene also like just reacting how he did.
Right.
yeah, it's going. Yeah, so I would say like I said, it wasn't a specific setup
Right.
punchline, but it was a good
All right.
little bit.
Charlie, what would you add to the trailer that we watched to like make you want to see this movie more? Like, what was something that you're like, oh, this is a good like little plot note, something like that?
I'm trying to think. Let's see. I mean, they covered a lot of it. I think they probably could have shown more about how he needs to win in
Yeah.
order to.
No matter what, he's got
Yes.
money on his mind.
Yes.
He can never give it up.
Exactly
Okay.
that. And that the plot is for him to get kidnapped, kind of, because they emphasize the panda a lot in there, and the panda is
Wait,
a big
who's
part.
him?
But
Max.
Ludacris.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that.
He's the main character, dude.
I should have known that.
So I'd probably
he
just
had
emphasize that, just a little bit more about the story. But the trailer pretty much summed up the tone of it.
Okay.
I mean,
It's weird that
maybe
they,
a few more of the
it really
more
is-
adult jokes.
It really is weird that they went from a movie with the titular characters. I mean, the main character's name as the title to Show Dogs, but still having the.
No one's gonna
Oh, wait,
realize
no,
that,
it's-
that you're referring to the movie Max.
Never mind. Yeah, you're right. You said it wasn't a part of the Max universe. My bad. Yeah.
You never fucking listen to me.
What were you gonna say, Steve? It was about the adult jokes, I think.
No, I was gonna say more importantly, how does this set up itself as the spiritual successor to the Fast and the Furious' character of Ludacris moving forward? I'm joking.
I mean,
You don't
I would
have to-
say-
In what way did this dog turn into?
I mean,
Ludacris.
I could see him being transformed into a human because on dog levels, he's as good as with technology compared to other animals as Ludacris is with technology
Well, I
compared to other
think-
humans.
That's fair. I did not anticipate you to actually answer that
I do,
question.
and I do think that Brian O'Connor at some point calls him his dog. So
oh,
Could be.
that has to happen.
Then he puts the leash on him. That's real fucked
yeah,
up. dude.
yeah, it was real. Thinking about, I mean, it was real problematic at the time, but now, like with this whole prequel thing, it makes sense that he would
Yeah.
almost not even instinctively do it and be like, oh shit, I forgot that you're not a dog anymore. But yeah, at the time it was really, I mean, oh boy, like it was. I remember the feeling in the theater. You could hear a pin drop because, yeah.
No, yeah, that was tough. Tyler, what in your movie do you feel should have been added to the trailer?
Honestly, the whole fact that she had already done. I know that the whole like credits thing, it's a little less, but believable as
Right.
far. But it's a movie, whatever.
That she wants to finish now.
But the fact that that she's not just like, well, time to just go to college.
Yeah, I guess I'll start now.
Yeah, like the fact that she's like, hey, I was almost done.
What's her normal job?
I don't
I
know.
think she
if-
was just a stay-at-home mom.
yeah, I
She
think so
was?
too. I don't.
Gotcha.
I don't remember them saying anything about her.
Well, I'm sure
having-
she'll find an archaeology job right off the bat.
Yeah,
No,
really easy.
just really, like, I just can't find anything but them when I'm searching for a job.
Yep.
I'm like,
And you're
what
like,
can
I typed pharmacy.
Yeah, like what in my area is like only archaeology? Like, there's nothing old here.
10 years of experience needed. One full dinosaur needed. Finding
I was about to
needed.
say needed at
Yeah.
interview. You need
Yeah.
to give us one full dinosaur. No, and that's actually, I mean, a little side thing. That's actually she takes that class, and Jillian Jacobs' characters in that class with her. So there's more like Jillian Jacobs throughout the movie than just like,
Gotcha.
hey, I'm here in a sorority sitting on a couch.
Hi, I'm Jillian Jacobs.
Yeah. But I would definitely say the whole not just the archaeology thing, that doesn't really need to be in a trailer, but just being like, because I don't remember her saying, "Hey, I almost finished college.
Yeah.
I should go." I should.
Might have, but I don't
feel like
remember
I
it.
feel like she might have said, "I'm gonna go
She-
back to college."
Yeah, it was either go back to college or I'm gonna finish college, but they didn't make it clear how close. She
Yeah, because the senior
Yeah.
year thing made it seem more. Because then later in the movie, there's the conflict of she finishes one semester, but then she's like, I think she finds out maybe she's hurting her daughter a little bit too much, being around too much,
Right.
and she's like, oh, I'm not gonna finish. But I'm not going to come back next semester. But then there's the whole, rally for
Online
you got to
courses.
come back. Oh, actually, you know what it was? Actually, it was the husband was
University
like,
of
I'm not
Phoenix.
you're not gonna get any more money, because I guess he was paying for it all still, and
Gotcha.
he's like, now you're gonna get cut off, and so they had to do a whole fundraiser. Yeah, that's actually exactly what he said. He just played that clip from the Chappelle Show episode.
Right.
It's the best way to get a message across to somebody.
Yep. Charlie.
How would my movie be different if Tyler Perry directed it? Let me open this scroll.
No, I was gonna say, tell me a little bit about
Hold
some
on,
of this
wait.
adult humor.
That scroll,
you were
it
talking about.
said, I think it says Tyler Perry on it now, but you crossed out I, if I directed it, and you just put Tyler Perry over it, and
Have
the
you ever
whole thing was typed, but that one part was just handwritten.
You ever seen Tyler Perry and myself in the same
What?
room at the
Wait,
same time?
Hold on a
I
second.
cannot say that.
I do
have.
need to clarify this. I say it was typed because it's in calligraphy, and so I assumed that it was typed. Do you know how to write in calligraphy?
Not with my hands. So what was the question, Steve?
Tell me a little bit about this adult humor that you were talking about. Like, Like I did see an article about something.
I was gonna mention this. Tyler and I had discussed. USA Today had some video on YouTube, which I mean, take that for what it is. As far as a news source, I'm not touting them as anything good or bad. It just, I know it's not a satirical news source, or at least it's not supposed to be.
They got that. Was it the blue circle or was
Yeah.
it the green circle?
Oh,
Blue.
Oh shit! So that's like main news, dude.
And there was a mother, and she was on all those mommy blogs on the internet and starting some campaign to have some scenes cut for the heavy. Well,
Petting.
she said that
No,
well,
yeah,
they have to.
actually.
Guys, heavy petting, show
I'll give-
dogs,
I will
high
give
fives,
you
high
They have
fives.
to.
Thank you.
So obviously, Max is getting pissed whenever Will Arnett's like, dude, the final thing is they do the genital check. That's every dog show ever. And it's like, I'm not doing that. It's like, dude, if we're gonna win, you have to do this. And he's coaxing him and stuff. And I guess they trimmed it down a lot for the actual release for the scene, because I remember the mother said in the video I watched it, she said that it makes kids. This movie will
Vomit?
make kids feel. I don't remember if she said encouraged to be
Incompetent?
molested.
Impotent.
I know.
Or-
I definitely
or
remember
impotent.
it
He's so
saying like
impotent to me.
like making connection between touching their genitals and feeling good or something like that.
Whoa, Steve! No, I'm kidding.
God damn
I'm
it.
kidding. No,
Hey, hold
no,
on,
it was like
I
no.
think
The
we
mom
need to
was
back
trying.
up. Steve might just have fucking hit a milestone. You're telling me when you touch your genitals, it feels good.
No, I'm saying that the woman's problem is that like
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I gotta
We
go.
got things to do.
I got something to test out.
No, she was saying that like this makes kids feel like it's okay to be molested, which is like that's a huge leap. It's
Yeah.
a fucking dog, and then also that's a thing in the dog world. It's not like oh this guy only kidnaps dogs that he molests. Like no, this is part of the show. It's an examination. But
I mean, yeah, I could see how you could argue that.
I mean,
it's
it
not,
depends on how he reacts.
You can't
to
say.
the
You, I mean,
situation.
you could say that the dogs probably don't want it to be happening to them, but to tie that to kids thinking that it's okay to be molested is like a far. I would think that if you were arguing this shows kids that it's okay to do that to dogs.
no, I
then-
don't think so.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
if that was her argument,
yeah, I
that's
gotcha
way
there.
more substantial
Sure.
Yeah,
than her being.
and also something you don't want kids to do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
she sounded like she was probably pretty pissed about a lot of things. But anyways, so there's some controversy in that. And they still address the topic. I think they just trimmed it down a little bit.
Okay.
And he
Oh,
does
wait.
eventually
You
let
mean-
him touch his balls.
You mean they addressed the topic of that mom being
In the
being
movie,
pissed
yeah.
off? Like,
Yeah.
so-
Will Arnett just looks straight to the camera. It's like, this one's for you. And then just, and it goes, and the dog crosses his eyes and goes, and then throws up. It's fucking sick, dude. You'd love it. Shit was in 4D too. It stunk.
and it was moist.
Okay. Tyler, guaranteed.
Oh, I
there's-
didn't even
Oh,
I didn't
sorry.
even actually talk about the rest of the stuff.
Oh
So-
God, there's more.
Well, there's lots of suggestive scenes in that. Max is definitely kind of the roughest character. Oh God, fuck.
Damn it.
We should only review dog movies.
You're right. I was like coming in hot to that.
That was accidental. He's the most
Scruffiest.
yeah, honestly. So he's trying to work with all like these female dogs that are in the pageant, and he's like, "Hey, girl, show me the secrets." And then some of them just straight up are
So-
going, "I can't tell you anything right now, but maybe if you meet me outside my hotel room and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Well, I got this insider tip," and she goes, "There's an there's another one goes like, oh, you gave me something, now I have to give you something." It's like, oh my God.
so-
There were probably at least 5 or 6 moments like that
So-
where I looked over at my buddy. It's like, holy shit.
Max talks a lot. Does he like follow through with everything he says? Like to the degree that he says he'll do it? Always?
I don't understand where you're going.
I want
Tyler wants to know
you-
how many dog sex scenes are.
No, that's not true. And I don't
And
think you
give
need
me
to
the timestamps.
And I don't think you need to know
That
where
was
I'm
Tyler
going with.
talking.
I don't think you need to know where I'm going with it. But if you really need to know, I was trying to set up a joke of. So you're saying that his bark is worse than his bite.
Yeah. I would say that he does.
That's a tough one to make happen.
Yeah, that's why I was doing it. But you came in about dog sex scenes, which
Something
is all
about
you think about.
blueberry yum yum. So there was lots of suggestive scenes.
Okay. All right.
We're in final thoughts.
I'm gonna. Yeah, pretty much.
No kidding. Keep them firing, Steve.
Yes, Steve.
Tyler,
Yes.
what kind of suggestive sexual stuff? Because I know, I mean, it's a college movie. There's definitely.
I mean, they fuck in a library.
Yeah, I know. Fine. Okay.
No,
Moving.
I don't know what you mean by suggestive. Like there are. I mean, she does the walk of shame, and
Not
she
them
actually
books.
walks. She actually. Did you say books?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
She runs into, so the guy that she hooks up with is the same, like in the same frat as her daughter's boyfriend.
Okay.
And so when they first hook up, they literally, the whole Google thing happens after they run into each other leaving the rooms of, and so they literally, she catches her mom doing the walk of shame, and they're like, oh my, that's why she's like, when they're doing that whole Google thing, she's still already like, oh my god, I cannot fucking believe that.
But like
I
her mom's not
witnessed this.
pissed that she's doing the walk of shame.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I think that I think that it's been alluded to the fact that her boyfriend at that school, they've been together for a while.
Sure.
Because when they walk into the party, Melissa McCarthy's even like, oh hey, so and so, how's it going? Like they
Gotcha.
know each other. They've been. I think she does a sweet, very natural line that somebody would definitely say when you see somebody. She goes, "Hey, there's your boyfriend." You know how movies do that shit,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
like it's like
Hey,
Steve,
exposition.
Steve, I'm your brother. It's like
And this is why you need to listen. to
yeah,
what
it's like
I
no
say.
sibling I have has ever exclaimed the fact that they're one of my siblings.
Yeah, I agree.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I think that maybe it's happened.
My siblings or yours?
Probably mine. Definitely my sister. has
Yeah,
done that
but
at some
you but
point.
that's because you always give them that script to read before they talk to you.
And you always pretend you have amnesia.
I guess that's true. All of these things do work against me.
But I mean, as far as suggestive goes, there's no like straight up sex scene, but they talk about, hey, yeah,
Minus one.
we fucked. Well, no, it's because it's all laying down.
Oh, okay.
It's not straight up, even in the
Nice.
library. They
Nice.
climb up on top of a bookshelf.
Nice.
Well played. Well played.
Well, you don't want people to see you.
Well, I guess just moving to final thoughts, and we'll start with Tyler on this one.
Okay.
Hit me with the old final thoughts. Wrap anything up that you wanna
Yeah.
get in there.
So I don't think that typically, it seems like in the movies that Melissa McCarthy does with her husband, they're not as good as the ones where without his involvement. If that makes sense. So like,
I understand.
so like she was fine, like good in Ghostbusters. I actually remember some moments laughing out loud to like lines she had and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. But then a movie like Tammy, I have absolutely no interest in seeing.
I've seen it. It was okay. At best.
But stuff like that, like I feel like they both write her into this hole that is like doesn't play to her strengths.
Which doesn't make any fucking
exactly,
sense.
exactly.
You would think that he would be like, no, we gotta stop this. We
The
gotta.
man
we
that
gotta
should
move out.
know you best.
You think they both would?
Yes.
because
Right.
you would think she would even be like, "Oh, I think I'm fun." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, which I mean, hey, if this is what if that kind of thing is what she legitimately likes doing best, and she thinks she does the best, and she's still getting paid and doing whatever, then more power to her.
That might be the part that she likes best.
Yeah, that's true. And the fact that her husband too is getting paid, and
Yeah.
getting work. But I think that this is out of. I mean, I can't name all their movies they've done together, but based off of like how Tammy was, even from the trailer, this looked way better than Tammy. And I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
this
Tammy's looked like the worst Melissa McCarthy
yeah,
movie, I think.
yes.
It's not a good one.
What? Oh, you said it's not a good one. She wasn't in Snatched. Was Amy Schumer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't she in a movie like Snatched where she got like kidnapped or something?
She was in Identity
Yeah,
Thief.
I was about to
where
say.
she
You know what
was
I
a
forgot
criminal.
she was in was Identity Thief.
Yeah.
That
Oh
looked-
no, I haven't seen Tammy. I've seen Identity Thief.
Oh, okay. Was Identity Thief really bad?
I just confused it for another film.
Oh,
So you
okay.
know.
Fair enough.
It was
That sucks
at
because
best
that has
forgettable.
yeah,
I
that
really
has
thought,
Jason Bateman in it.
Yeah.
yeah, I can't.
You know what? It is just Tammy that I'm thinking of, but Tammy has another like older female actress that's like pretty famous in it, just like how Snatched did.
Sure.
I don't remember who it was. Might be the same person.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. But I think that this was. I mean, I'm not telling you that it's the best comedy I've ever seen in my fucking life. It's not even. It's not the best Melissa McCarthy movie I've ever seen. Bridesmaids is still.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat Bridesmaids at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And wasn't she nominated for an Academy Award for that?
Maybe.
I think she was
Like
best supporting actress.
Yeah.
But this still is, you know, I mean, I had a good time in the theater. I saw it by myself on like a Tuesday night because it was like $5 Tuesday, and I
Hell
think
yeah,
I had
$5
I had a $5 AMC rewards or something like that. So I was like, fuck. Just walk in, see this movie, and it exceeded my expectations. It was a lot of fun to watch it, and it didn't ever like it never got to the point where I was like, oh my god, how fucking long is this movie? Like, when am I getting out of here?
Right.
Like, I never got to the point where I was just kind of annoyed at the fact that I was watching it.
Sure.
All right. Charlie, final thoughts. Wrap everything up. Put a bow on it. Maybe a collar.
Okay. I mean, my movie was clearly aimed at children.
If you were to put a collar on your movie, would it have studs?
No, this movies would have a ball gag. No. This movie,
that blogging mom is typing up a whole new essay.
good for her. She could send it straight
You
to
gotta-
our email.
You gotta get those creative juices out somehow.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
frustration
no, this
out.
is just a fanfic. This isn't.
Yeah. There's stuff that can entertain adults for this. I mean, it's definitely still aimed at children.
Right.
I think I probably would have liked it if I was younger, you know? And that's not saying I hated it, but it's not for me.
No,
not-
I get you.
And I don't mean to. If the answer to this may hinder your whole point and everything, but how young do you mean younger? Like, are you talking like early teens? Or are you talking like, you know,
Early teens would probably be the end of it.
So, like, 12
later
or
on.
13?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But their parents would be fine, like sitting through, like, okay,
Yeah.
you know. Whereas it could be a train wreck, and it's like, oh, I can't believe I
Like
sat
this
through
again?
that piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah. You
So-
or walked out of it like 9 lives.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So,
So,
I mean,
so I hate to say it, but this one really wasn't that hard for me. I
shocker.
think I'm gonna have to go.
Thank
with,
you. It was. I did a good
I
job.
honestly think he's going with you.
No, I'm gonna go with Life of the Party.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry for
Just the way
this
he
one
was-
being a bad.
Oh no,
a
dude,
bad
it's still
matchup.
funny.
The way he was
It's
saying it,
all
I
good.
was like, is he fucking picking show jocks?
That would be funny.
I was considering doing like the fake, but then I was like, that's not a good look. Maybe I shouldn't.
It's all fair, dude.
Yeah, and Love and War and this podcast.
Right. Well, this podcast is love and war.
It's all of it.
But yeah,
Let's hear from Tyler first.
I legitimately just did like when I picked this matchup, I knew nothing of show dogs. So
Who do you want to hear from first? Me?
yes, because you are the winner.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this movie was awful, dude. I don't think I.
Honestly, I think you sold it better with like your medium like your medium
that's-
like thing in the
Yeah.
at the end there. Like that was well played.
Yeah, no, this was bad. I might have done a couple like, but yeah, for the most part, I did not enjoy it at all. I actually thought that coma thing was really terrible. I can't believe I brought it up. The whole coma joke of her like falling. Maybe the way I delivered
Pretty rude way to
the way I delivered
stop
it.
talking to somebody.
You laughed at it, Steve, but I can tell you the way that I delivered it was like 1,000 times better than the way that it was done.
Right.
Because the way that it was done, it's just her, like her. She started like she was in the conversation, then just dipped her head down and closed her eyes, and the guy was like, "Oh shit, is she in a?" They're both standing, by the way.
Right.
And he's like, "Is she in a coma again?" And runs off. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? She's just standing there. Like what?" Anyway, also, it didn't help that apparently some stragglers from the Deadpool 2 screening followed me all the way. They heard that I was
They've
seeing this
been
movie.
following you, dude.
And they were just riotous laughter the entire
I'm
time.
telling you, literal like fist pumps during some of these jokes in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't even think I saw a fist pump in any of the times I saw Deadpool and that crowd.
I don't think I've ever seen a fist pump in a fucking movie theater before.
and it's not. And this is. I mean, it's not like.
There was that one when we went to go see the live streaming episode of Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say when you saw Black Panther. And I was gonna say no, Steve. They weren't fist pumping. What?
No, nothing.
I mean, that was a good reference.
Sure.
But anyway, Steve, looking at me like what I said was problematic when it wasn't.
I know.
I mean, there was nothing in there that was fist pump worthy. Again, this is a movie that, I mean, it's not breaking any comedy ground. It's not like it's. I mean, I know it's complete opposite side of the spectrum.
Isn't it
as
just
far
like
as,
a watered down version of Back to School?
I've never seen Back to School.
I mean, classic Rodney Dangerfield
the thing
story.
is, I could
Or
almost
what about the
if
Will
you're
Ferrell one?
old school.
Old school,
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I don't want to compare it to something like that,
Sure.
just because you're comparing an all-female cast to an all-male cast, and I feel like that's like trying to say, "Hey,
Yeah,
look, at
that gets real bad real quick.
You know,
That
what I
shit
mean?
ain't all female. That guy is in it.
Matt Walsh
Yeah.
for a little bit.
That guy whose name I can't remember.
But if I were like, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, something like Bridesmaids that is legitimately
Sure.
very funny and very well done.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I could, if I saw somebody fist pumping, especially like a woman fist pumping during that movie, I would be like, oh, okay, that's cool. She's feeling like representation about
Yeah.
something that she
I just
totally
can't-
relates to.
I
But
just
then
can't see anybody fist pumping like, oh,
Just
like
wait, the
laughing
next time,
so hard.
The next time we go see a movie.
Maybe
think
my
it-
life
I
just
don't-
sucks.
I don't know.
Fuck
I don't
your
know
head.
if it was. I don't know if it was more like this is so funny. I think it was more of like, yeah, girl. That's,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was that's funny,
Was it-
but
was it
also,
during-
oh
I was
man,
thinking,
Was it
well,
during the scene where she was like, "I'm fucking your son"?
Woo-hoo!
Get it, girl.
Well, we had been talking when you and I discussed this before, and Tyler, I remember now. I said like the Arsenio Hall show, where like people just go whoop whoop whoop, whoop just
Yeah,
bumping
no.
their
When you
fists
said
in
you
the
haven't
air.
seen, I was about to say something along those lines. Yeah, no, it was somebody did that, and it's like in my head, I'm like, really, this movie? Like you? Or
Maybe
like,
it's her first movie.
maybe.
These pictures, they be moving.
I did not. Then she should have been way more terrified.
I heard there was a
Because
train
I was,
that.
I was about to say, there's a train that came directly at the screen at one point, and she didn't make a noise. Probably because she thought
died.
she was dead.
Am I dead?
No, it's definitely. I mean, I guess I don't want to say I can't see how you wouldn't enjoy this at all, but
Sure.
I did not enjoy it really at all because there were again. Like with, I honestly think it's really her, like whatever her and her husband do in the writer's room, when they're sitting down and doing this, like they really do focus in on her
Me
worst.
copying, pasting from the old scripts.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is that, and you saw this at, I think it was the SNL anniversary. Was it 100 or was it 50?
40.
40. Yeah, that one where she recreated a Chris Farley sketch,
Yeah.
which and I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I think that whole fat person fall down, even when Chris Farley did it, I don't think that's funny. It's just very like, oh hey, last resort, better jump on this table. And I know you're laughing now, but
Well, no, but
personally-
you talking about it.
Yeah.
Though.
It makes me,
I think
I was actually thinking about this the other day because I was like, man, I really do love Tommy Boy. but it's not. It's more than just
Exactly. No,
Even the Van
there's-
by the River sketch
there's-
down as when the shit he's yelling at the
everything
kids.
before he jumps
Yeah.
onto the table is hilarious.
It's-
And then
yeah,
the
I-
scene,
when he jumped on the table in the Van Down by the River stuff, like I don't like that part nearly as much as the other.
one of
stuff.
my favorite like Chris Farley SNL bits is when he is at that restaurant and he orders something. And I don't remember what the waiter says or whatever, but he has that reaction. I'm sure you guys have seen this
When-
reaction where
when
he's just
he's-
like so confused and he's like,
Oh no! I know
It's
what you're
like,
talking about.
he
It's
gets
like
super
that-
angry and yeah, I mean it's just this, and I think she loves Chris Farley, which I don't
Sure.
blame her, but I think that she might see that and be like, oh hey, we got to do Pratfalls, we got to do this.
I
And so-
will say that my friend has talked about this a lot. Talking about like in the wake of Deadpool 1, of like people seeing Deadpool and seeing its success, and then honing in on like the things, like weird things about it, and thinking that that's what made it successful.
Yeah, it's not that. It's
Where
really
it's
just
like Deadpool was successful because it's an R rating. Well, like no, it got to do some things because it had an R rating, and then that made it a little
Sure.
bit more successful. But it's not just because it had an R rating,
I
or
don't-
just because of this.
I don't think that that's where Life of the Party fails. I think it fails in just how it delivers a lot of its jokes and how it uses them, and also using its talent. I mean, I know that. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. We will talk shit about this movie or other movies that Melissa McCarthy has been in, but she is a funny actress.
Well, it's
She-
just weird though because we always say, and I feel the exact same way. It's like, man, she's funny, but it's always like, but this movie fucking sucks. It's like she's in
Yeah.
so many shitty
it might,
movies.
It might, and it might be because of our expectations of what we've seen.
could be,
Like in
yeah.
something like Bridesmaids,
Yeah.
where it's funny, or in something like Ghostbusters, where I know there's a lot of
Or
controversy
even
behind
just
that.
some of
but
her SNL skits, which were funny.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I think that, or Mike and Molly, which
I mean,
Couldn't even get that one out.
no, I've seen stuff in that show that I think is funny, but
yeah,
it's not something that like is funny enough all of the time for me to watch.
and I
But, like
hate
there are shining moments when I've seen it.
I hate to say it's like her and her husband working together, but I feel like maybe that's just a dynamic that they both hone in on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they took a step back and were like, hey, wait, what's really funny about, these scenes that you're
Sure.
in? So it's at a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5 out of 10 average rating, 118 reviews, so that's actually not that many. 45 fresh, 73 rotten. The consensus being Life of the Party's good-natured humor and abundance of on-screen talent aren't enough to make up for the jumbled direction and a script that misses far more often than it hits. Also, I do want to mention the daughter became way okay with them being, like, her being there, like, way too quickly. Like, it started off and she was like, I don't like this. And then it seemed like the next scene she was like, let's go to a party.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've got one review here that says nope. We've got one review here that says scene after scene overstays its welcome. We've got a review here that says Life of the Party doesn't live up to either of the nouns in its title. Which
Nice.
I did not pre-read that
That's
one.
good.
That's a
That is
really
that's a
good
good
one. As far as those, whole, critic reviews where they always have to try to make some pun off the title. That was
That one's great.
this is a positive one. Life at the Party is harmless, good fun, and sometimes that's enough. I get that, and I kind of agree with that as well, but I don't know if that warrants a positive review. It's like,
Right.
damn, all of these on the front page of this are negative, and I don't want to read a bunch of negative ones. More fun than funny. Life of the Party may be one of the weaker comedies to come from Melissa McCarthy in a leading role,
Dude, how was the dance scene, though?
but it's entertaining, pleasant, and harmless enough if you've been taken by McCarthy's previous work and been with Ben Falcone or Falcone or whatever. I don't know. He's a mob boss from the Batman universe.
Right.
It was. I mean, it was fine.
Just
Melissa
a
McCarthy.
stupid movie dance scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
Not a breakdancing scene. Starring
She spit on her
Cuba
head
Gooding Jr.
like 8 times or anything.
No, she didn't do anything
Gotcha.
like outlandish. The movie may be one of the most. I'm sorry. The movie may be one of the nicest, most kind-hearted things I've seen in a while. Party ultimately fails because of the fact that no rational human being. Jesus Christ! I need to learn how to read or pre-read these before I start. Party ultimately fails because of the fact that no rational human being would act like any of the characters in this film.
That sounds about accurate.
It often feels like you're watching take 10 or 20 of a bit that lost all comic potential after take 1 or 2.
Ouch.
And we'll end it on a positive. Life of the Party is enjoyable if you're willing to look past some of the issues that stem from its need to be happy, overly simplified comedy. So, Charlie?
I will say, Charlie,
Then
that
I
one of the
will
big
hand
things is
you
I still just don't understand
the
how
laptop.
people can't understand the dogs, but this dog is still, like, on his own.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think any of us do.
That's fine. I was just like, that was just something I could not. Like, I just kept thinking, like Tyler was talking, I was like, but how is this dog fucking on his own?
Yeah, I don't know. And then he goes back to the police station, and the chief is like, that's our best K9 unit out on the force. So he knows he's going out by himself, I guess, but I don't know. My buddy fell asleep like 30 minutes into this movie, and I just kept shaking my head. And it was a dog pun. Every single Ludacris line. Ludacris was the worst actor in this. Everybody else actually did a decent job with the voices and seemed like they were trying. Ludacris's were so bad because he wasn't even acting as if he were the character. It was just he was
Reciting.
just reciting lines. He's like, "Oh boy, we gotta go to the show now." Almost like it's for really young kids.
Right.
Oh, I'm talking like 4 or 5. Everybody else is doing
where,
it for
your dialogue is like actually exposition somehow.
Yeah, it's like the other people would say, "Oh no, the panda's getting away. What are we gonna do?" And then he just speaks super slowly, and he's like, "Well, since we're police, we need to make sure that we chase after him and do the right thing."
Like
It's
when Dora turns and talks to the
jeez,
children
yeah.
through the TV.
Yeah, it was fucking bad. And then I want to mention something, but I want
Right.
our third co-host to be here. Hopefully he'll be back shortly. There's a great scene where there's a tiger, and he's got a sick Indian accent, and he makes a joke with a full-on voice, which I won't do now, and he goes, "Now this is the life of Pi." The tiger's riding in a zip line down the Vegas Strip.
Wow.
I have nothing to say to that.
But
That makes me want to stop watching movies.
but the criminal gets away in a little plane, but the tiger's on there too.
So,
And I thought for sure, like, well, this
He was gonna maul
motherfucker's
it.
dead because he's in a single-engine plane by himself with the fucking huge tiger.
But then you
the
saw him
tiger
grab
just
the-
messes him up, and then they land safely, and he goes to jail. This movie fucking sucks. Like, I wouldn't.
So
Never recommend it to
Not only did
anybody.
they not do the move bitch joke, but they made one of the laziest racist jokes since Roseanne.
Since
Bar.
Roseanne.
I mean, so it's just like the first one to happen since then. No, but really, that tiger's accent wasn't bad at all. Like it sounded like they just got a real person to
Yeah.
do it until that last line. It's like, damn, you guys made it so far, and then that fucking Life of Pi joke, and I don't even care as much. I'm more offended by just the humor of it. It's not even fucking funny.
Yeah, it's a nonsense line.
Well, that's part of why it's so offensive.
Yeah.
Like it's. I mean,
The story's about a tragedy with the child.
so you're saying
No,
that the
this
voice
is a
was,
Schindler's List.
it was the guy who it was Dan
Oh yeah, dude, for
Castellaneta.
sure.
You said
Yeah.
it sounded realistic.
For sure, man.
I had to look up
Yeah.
his name and I couldn't even pronounce it right.
All right,
you don't want him
this
because you
is-
wanted Hank Azaria.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's
Damn it.
right. Fuck, you are
I
right.
thought it was the voice of Homer.
No.
No, it's the voice of almost everybody else.
The voice of Homer is only Homer. He might be a
Damn.
couple other things, but Hank Azaria is like half that fucking town.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's for
Okay, so this movie's at a 16%, average rating 3.1 out of 10, 51 reviews, 8 fresh, 43 rotten. Critics' consensus: Show Dogs may entertain very young viewers, but for anyone else, it threatens the cinematic equivalent of a rolled-up newspaper on the snout. I would say more like rubbing your nose in shit to me, but Star-studded cast, though. I mean, we have Stanley Tucci, Alan Cumming, Gabriel Iglesias, Gabriel the Fluffy
Yeah, you
Iglesias.
forgot.
Yeah, that's weird that's starting to be a thing now.
Grown-ups might not roll over for show dogs, but children almost surely will.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like grown-ups may not stand a chance in front of this star-studded cast.
Even by the low standards of this type of live-action movie, family-friendly comedy, Show Dogs is especially lame. They did make a joke saying they were interviewing dogs at the dog show, and one of the ones goes, well, they don't really make talking animal movies anymore, so I've been having to work on my fashion line and stuff, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's not even funny.
It's true that technology has come a long way since Tex Avery first added animated mouths to real-life animals, but what good is scientific know-how without the imagination needed to power it?
That's just a sprawling criticism that's like, was this necessary to like write this out on a blurb?
Oh, here we go. This is kind of what I was talking about. There's an astonishing lack of restraint in the kid-friendly department when it comes to the script.
Okay.
Oh, boo on this one. Bow wow out of this one. You should be ashamed of
That
yourself,
doesn't
Linda
even make
Cook.
fucking
No,
sense.
it's bow
Bow
out of this one, but then they add the wow for the dog noise. Yeah,
I
it's-
mean, it's even worse the fact that, like, 1 out of 3 people don't get it.
Yes,
this
yes,
is-
we are an accurate representation of.
This
of
is
the
clumsy
populace.
stuff.
And dentists.
This is clumsy stuff, and Arnett looks lost among his slobbering co-stars.
Oh, okay. You said, like, Will Arnett.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought he said our net.
No.
just like a net sitting
Yeah,
on screen.
yeah, and I was like, what? Arnett looks lost? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
good?
I mean that's about all the reviews.
That was all 51 of them.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Steve. So, at the end of the day, so go, run, don't walk your dog to Show Dogs.
Yeah,
Or just don't go to see it.
yeah. Euthanize.
Oh my God!
I'll stop right
Euthanize
there.
This film.
Hey, Bark, don't bite your parents when telling them to take you to see Show Dogs.
Yeah, you know what Bob Barker always said. This movie fucking sucks.
It's every single time.
Yeah, at the end of every episode.
I think he even said it in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that's right.
So comes another end to another episode of this podcast, which is called
Movie verse.
Movie Versus. And Steve, what do we have to plug?
Let's see. We got Facebook, Gmail, Instagram, I believe is one of the things. All of them at Movie Versus Podcast. Get in contact on those if you want to talk to us. Then there is our friends Beyond the Blast Doors, another podcast. Good Bad or Bad Bad, a video cast. This Film is Lit, another podcast, and then Critical Misadventure, a D&D podcast. And I believe that is it.
Beautiful. Bye.